Duchess, Glass Eyes Never Blink by M.R. Ray. Chapter 11. Willy came to in the recliner, throat raw, heart pounding. The last thing he recalled was the cat on the mantel, then nothing, as he couldn't remember lying down. He was in the recliner, the blanket twisted around his ankles. His mouth tasted like burned sugar and old pennies. He blinked and winced. For what seemed like a long time, he lay there. Every breath felt stuck. Willy moved little at first, didn't trust his own limbs. The room looked the same as always. Morning light sliced through the blinds, striping the far wall. Nothing was out of place. He looked to the mantel. The cat was there. He squeezed his eyes shut, then opened them again. No mistake. The stuffed cat sat dead center, fur unburnt, paws tucked, glass eyes leveled straight at him. The gold collar gleamed. Willy froze, a strange feeling washing over him as he noticed a faint, lingering scent that seemed out of place in the clean room. He couldn't decide if it was the sharp smell of smoke or an eerie absence of any scent at all, a sensory contradiction that made the cat's presence seem even more impossible. He remembered the other night. Gasoline, a match, flames chewing through fur. The stench of death still clung to his nostrils. He remembered the eyes popping, the rings sagging, the whole thing collapsing into a lump of blackened scrap. A voice called from the kitchen.
"You're going to be late!"
He rolled his head over, then sat himself upright. The room spun once, then settled. The air in the house was warm, heavy with the smell of frying eggs and strong coffee. Wanda called again, this time with more edge.
"I made breakfast. You're welcome."
He forced himself to stand. His knees nearly buckled. He caught himself on the armrest, then shuffled toward the kitchen, not taking his eyes off the cat until he passed the archway. The kitchen was brighter than before. Wanda's voice led him in, but Willy saw her only in silhouette. Her back was turned, and she was standing at the counter. Her hair was a mess of blonde, roots showing. The robe she wore gaped at the back, bare calves crossed as she tapped one foot, in time to music he couldn't hear. She hummed off-key, but happily. The smell of breakfast was sharp. Coffee, eggs, bacon, and toast. He hesitated at the archway, hands curled at his sides. Wanda glanced over her shoulder.
"Morning, sleepyhead."
She smiled wide enough to show every tooth. He shuffled to the table, careful to keep her in his line of sight. The table was set for two. Wanda had even folded paper towels into triangles. She set a pan on the counter and wiped her hands on a towel.
"You remember that party we threw a couple of months back?"
The housewarming party.
"If that's what you want to call it."
She snickered. Willy looked at her, dumbfounded. She turned, all casual grace, and leaned back against the counter.
"You don't remember?"
Her eyes were bright, alive, her lips glossy with chapstick.
"It was wild, Willy."
He stared at her. The words made no sense.
Wild?
Wanda laughed.
"You're adorable."
She reached for the carton of juice sitting on the counter and poured it into a glass.
"The way you and that auditor from work, what's his name, you remember..."
He felt heat crawl up his neck.
Doug?
"Yeah, Doug.
She giggled a little.
The way the two of you went at that redhead from your office. I don't think she walked right for a couple of days."
He had no memory of this.
I don't...
Wanda kept going.
"Then the real fun started. You remember the couple from across the street with the ugly minivan? They stayed until 2?
She said.
You should have seen them, Willy. She was all over you. The husband didn't even care. He was too busy with me."
Wanda smiled.
"I think he had a thing for blondes."
Willy felt sick.
Are you messing with me?
"I'm just saying. Next time you want to host an orgy, we should have more people over."
He stared at his hands. They were shaking. He pressed them to the table to make it stop.
"Relax. We're grown-ups, right? Besides, You were the star of the show.
She giggled.
You had some moves I've never seen before. That thing you did with your tongue.
Willy tried to remember. The last thing he recalled was picking her up at the hospital. She'd had a miscarriage. He looked up.
The hospital, I remember that.
Wanda blinked.
Hospital?
He tried to read her face, but she gave him nothing. She grabbed a plate from the counter and set it before him. He expected eggs, bacon, and toast. Instead, the plate held a slick mound of chopped liver and sardines, gleaming with oil. The smell hit him, rich and rotten. His throat closed. He stared at it.
What is this?
For a moment, her eyes were the same soft blue he knew. Then the color drained, replaced by a luminous yellow that caught like fire in glass. Her pupils pinched to slits, watching him with animal patience. He stared at her, terror building in the pit of his stomach. She grinned.
You see it?
Don't you?
He tried to stand, but the muscles in his legs seized. A sound filled the kitchen, a deep, steady vibration. It was built from the baseboards, up through the tile, into his bones. It was a purr, deep and satisfied, rolling through the room in even pulses. Wanda's voice was lost in it. Her mouth moved, lips curling around the words, but he couldn't hear her. Only the purr. He tried to back away, but his chair stuck to the tile. Pushing harder, he heard the chair legs screech across the floor. He shoved away from the table. The chair toppled, and he hit the floor hard. Wanda stood over him, staring down with those yellow, feline eyes. She crouched, knees wide, hands flat on the tile.
You're not going anywhere.
She said. She leaned in close, her breath wet and rank with liver.
You're mine.
She said. He tried to scream, but the purr was all he could hear. The world went bright at the edges, then everything tilted and spun, and then blackness closed in. Willy woke with the back of his head pressed to the room rug. Sunlight hit his eyelids through a slit in the curtain. He heard a faint voice, not in his head this time, but hovering above.
Willy. Willy. Are you okay?
A hand on his forehead, warm and steady. He blinked and Wanda's face came into focus. Her eyes were round, blue, and worried. No yellow, no slit pupils. He tried to push himself up, but his arms felt like rubber. The world spun, so he lay flat and let it right itself. Wanda tucked her hair behind her ear.
You fainted.
She said. He touched his forehead. No blood, no lump.
I'm fine.
He managed. She exhaled and helped him sit. The room looked ordinary. Couch in its spot, coffee table steady, old TV humming. The cat was still on the mantel, paws tucked, tail curled. Willy stared at the cat. Its glass eyes were blank, lit by a wedge of sun. He shivered. Wanda crouched beside him, her hand still on his arm. His mouth clung thick and dry, the words refusing to come.
What happened?